Hi, just a quick weekly wrap on liquidity. Starting here with the VIX, we can see red here in the selling. With all of our liquidity indicators are showing a increased selling going into the week into Jackson Hole, and we can here I'm looking at the 15-minute, and we can see we had a lot of selling on the Thursday night, Friday morning Globex, the 22nd, and that selling was continued during the lit hours there on Friday. If we just quickly have a look at, we'll start with the IWM. The IWM has seen, we saw a greener period when we had this buy around the 11th and the 12th. It's much more obvious in the option chains at the moment, and here we could see some quite a large buy going into the close, and we can see it really starting to tighten up here going into the close, and then on Thursday night and then Friday morning. The TNA, again, quite similar, quite a flat period, but then it just started to drop here before we got into the open on Friday, and then it's really been chasing the tail. We can see it much more here in the SPX, probably more, it's better to look at the 5-minute. We saw on Thursday, we saw some really good buying here. It's really tightened up and gone below this medium 50% line, which shows us the difference between buying and selling. And then we've had really good backfilling late into the day on Friday. Another quick way to have a look that we knew that this was going to happen is if I'll just chop and change these to the mag. So I'm using a group indicator here that just to show you where that buying was. And strangely enough, even though we did see a very large bump in the Russells, that green really, that buying, I'll shut this one down, it's not as clear. That green really, we did start to see that on Friday. If we, on Thursday, we can just see here it was dropping into a really nice green period here before we saw it in the VIX. We really saw the Mag 7 go from this selling period here, very high irregular liquidity, selling into really nice green, buying all the way through Thursday almost, and then we saw it really bump up on Friday. SPY's pretty much the same. SPY dropped down a little bit earlier, again, good filling day all day. Qs wasn't as obvious. Don't know why. There was a little bit of buying in on Thursday afternoon. But again, look, this mag was really the big tell. If we quickly go and have a look at the ES again here in the 15-minute, just not as clear. Obviously, a great buying day here, very green on Thursday's futures and Friday morning's futures in Asia and in Europe before the open, but nowhere near as clear. If we just change this to the Nasdaq futures, so we're in the right time layers, and we can just see here nearly all of that period. I'll just bump that up so it's out of the zone. All of that period, we saw really good buying, and that's when we saw the VIX turning. Obviously, as the futures rose, the VIX, which is forward-looking month options, it really just changed that IV in them. And as we can see, we've gone into that very strong period through the Friday when we saw this very good bump up. Let's have a quick look at China. China again saw this rise. I probably have to look at it over the 1 hour. It's a difficult. China's always a difficult one to look at, but we can see this very tight liquidity we saw with some comments from Trump. We can see it here in the irregular liquidity. Worked very well, and we can see here very, very strong liquidity relative to previous periods that we've had. We had very strong liquidity in the liquidity sentiment, which is amortized over all of the time periods. Going back here, we're looking at 1 hour, going back to 1500 periods. My last one I wanted to check as we've worked through. We might have just a quick look at Apple. Apple had greened up before we came into started to go on Wednesday last week, and then it's had a strengthening into the week here. And if Apple's green, we're always going to get a green in the markets, and we can see that it had a very good Thursday there, and that's really led to this Friday bump, and again green into the close, which is good for the start of the week. We've seen a reversal in Bitcoin. I use Bitcoin. I use Coin as my leading indicator. We can see here that Coin started dropping in on Thursday, not as tight as it really wasn't right into the close, but we could see here it was dropping. It is the indicator that I look for, and we can see over a period of time that it was selling and it really grained up coming into those last couple of days. We haven't really seen it tightening to the sort of extent that we have seen in the last three bump moves in Coin, so I'm not expecting this is going to be a huge bump up. Nice thing to see was we've seen just overnight in the futures Sunday, during the day Sunday, we've seen this pullback that we did need. All of these have had a zero point 0.5 retracement. The 0.5 retracement that was really missed was this one here, giving us a stronger. Let's just have a look from the bottom of the 22nd. Oh, it doesn't want to do it for me. If we have a look at this retracement here today, which took out a lot of Friday's gains, is now back into a good territory. Oh, and we can just see here that we've made that 0.5 retracement now, and hopefully we will see some more upside today. It was a very good bottom to buy if you just bought this retracement here. I think we're going to see some more upside this week in BTC. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that little update. I had to shorten it. My weekly update was too long. And so this is a revised version. Anyway, it looks like a green week coming up without anything else changing. We've had a new bottom. Talk to you over the week with just some short daily updates.